Welcome to Michael's Musings on Music. Today we're going to look at a musical scale. A scale is a set of consecutive tones from which you build melodies and harmonies. It provides material for a piece of music. The word scale comes from the Latin word meaning ladder. Now there are many types of scales, but I want to focus on the two most frequently used, the major scale and the minor scale. The major scale is the most popular scale, the easiest to recognize when you hear it. A piece like Frere Jacques, for example, uses the notes of a major scale. Now, a minor scale is often associated with sadder music. So this is what Frere Jacques would sound like if we use the notes of a minor scale. Now, even though every scale contains a different set of notes, each scale is put together in exactly the same way. They all follow a certain interval pattern. Now, an interval is the space between two different notes. So for the sake of this discussion, I want to talk about two specific intervals: a half step or semitone and a whole step or a whole tone. Now, the piano keyboard makes this idea clear. A half step or semitone is the smallest interval in Western music. So on a keyboard, it would be moving one piano key to the left or right. A whole step or whole tone is a slightly larger interval. You would move two piano keys to the left or to the right. So if you notice in the whole tone or the whole step example, there is always a key, whether black or white, in between. So a scale is 8 consecutive notes that fit this half step, whole step pattern. This is the formula for a major scale. So from whatever note I start on, if I play whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, I will play a major scale. So for example, starting on G, whole, half, whole, half, G major scale. And while we're at it, here's the formula for a natural minor scale, which has a slightly different combination of half steps and whole steps. So for example, here is a G minor scale. So this is what a C major scale looks like on the keyboard. The W is for whole step, the H is for half step. And as it happens, a C major scale uses just the white notes on the keyboard. Here is a C major scale on a staff in the treble clef, showing the half step, whole step pattern. Every note in a scale has a musical role to play and has certain specific relations to each other. So we label each note in the scale. These are what we call scale degrees. Here is the C major scale again, but below we see the scale degrees. They are represented either by numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or Roman numerals if you want to get fancier. If you want to get really fancy, you can call them by their proper names: tonic, supertonic, mediant, subdominant, dominant, submediant, and leading tone. Now the reason why the last note says 8 or 1 is because it's the same note as the first one, just higher. This first note, the tonic note, determines the name of the scale. So every scale will have the same internal musical relations no matter what scale it is. Let's look again at the C major scale on the keyboard. The numbers are the scale degrees, and the letters are the names of the notes. Remember, the scale of C major has all white keys. It sounds like this. This is a B major scale. It looks very different. We have a lot more black notes, but it follows the same pattern. Here's the B major scale on the staff. It has many accidentals, which are the symbols in front of the notes. Those are sharps, which roughly correspond to the black notes on the keyboard we just saw. And here's B major scale. So every note has its own scale. Let's look at the minor scale now. A different combination of half steps and whole steps than a major scale. This is E minor. E minor has one black note. Sounds like this. And here is A minor. And I want you to notice that A minor uses all the same notes as C major, all the white keys, but it starts on an A, so it's an A scale, an A minor scale. So since C major and A minor share all the same notes, they are relatives. A minor is the relative minor of C major, and C major is the relative major of A minor. Next time, we're going to look at how the major and minor scales relate to keys and key signatures, and we'll also explore the circle of fifths.